Okay, this is the most recent map I have published. I've changed the name of DE Playtest Me to DE Humble. I don't know why I chose the name. I think I was focusing on just like keep it humble. Don't get it flashy. Mission failed. I have an elevator here. Oh, so a first big change is that the T's have moved even further back. Um, there are now 3 routes to go that are much more evident. There's the around the side where you take to the underpass that goes onto the site. The site looks so much wider, so much vibrant actually. I'm using white colors to bounce light around. I'm using some accents from St. Mark's. I'm using a custom texture that just will ignore it. We'll get there. um, Everything sort of stands out way better, and there feels like already I just found so much more stylistic consistency from doing less rather than doing more. Um, I kind of wish I took that to heart way sooner, honestly, just doing more with less. There's still kind of some weird geometry facets. Like, I don't agree with this. I should take this out. Um, but on top of that, you can go onto the bridge as a T. You now have a little bit more cover. Like, you've got this as a place to fall back to. It's kind of clipped off a little bit, so you can just kind of jiggle peek and it still kind of reveals too much at once. I think I considered putting a pillar up here. Um, yeah, and then I think the problem is that CTs could camp up here. I actually playtested this, and people would like camp here waiting for somebody to leave the bridge and would get them like that. So I removed it, but I still had to find a real solution for it. I moved it back here, and that solves the issue that I was having with the incredibly sharp angle of the sniper tower. So now, if we go back here, T's leave their spawn room, and they go over to the balcony. That's a sniper location. And over here, so now they only really have to fight like one thing at a time. Maybe somebody who's standing here, and whoever's up on the staircase, clearing out angles. That's 2 angles at once, but I don't know, risk reward, I guess. This crate, which you can bang, but it prevents visibility. The bridge, and then by this point, hopefully maybe you've had a friend covering you, or you can smoke out to sort of block it off. Yeah, just like that, or block off kind of some of the lower underpass. Oh, come on. That was not good. I want to... Yeah, I don't know. And you can drop onto the site here from down here. You can even fall back to have something kind of to cover you. I don't think this is great because you're falling and you're super exposed from like all these different angles as you're falling down and not able to retaliate, as opposed to if this was even just like a staircase going down and then you appeared at like ground level to fight all these people. That could actually make for something interesting. But I was kind of married to the idea of having this overlooking sniper balcony, and I don't think it really worked for the best in that situation. Plant zone is here. You're no longer planting around the pillar, but now the pillar is moved over here. And if you'll notice something about this pillar is that this is a crate that doesn't look like any existing crate in CSGO, and that's because it was my first custom model. It is the first model that I'd made in Blender as like a game model. I textured it, I baked AO into the texture, I gave it a shape for collisions, and yeah, I followed some tutorials and got it into my CSGO map. I even packed it and everything, so it, I I don't have the source files anymore, but it downloaded to my workshop just fine. So I'm very happy that I got at least that in. I learned something with this map, and it was custom models and custom textures. This was meant to be, I don't know, roofing shingles made of woods. Something about the application of it, or just, I don't know. I think I used Material Maker to make this, and it turned out okay, but not as good as I wanted it to be. This hasn't changed. It's still a cubby that CTs can hide and sort of do their firefight with CTs in if they want to, or they can hide on site with that. But even still, the Ts are very exposed as they're walking into the site. There's not a whole lot to protect them. It's kind of like just to use B-site in a way. But then at the same time, there's this. So like if two Ts coordinated to shoot here and here at the same time, then it can catch a lot of CTs off guard as they're trying to defend this area. I'd argue almost you could make this a little bit, well, wider, a little bit bigger. But, you know, not by too much. Maybe not in this direction, but in that direction. Just kind of push this whole area out further in that direction. This feels way more like there's something to work with, and I can make changes to it and not totally annihilate all the work I've done in terms of detailing. We got the underpass. The underpass is now like you have to go to the underpass if you're walking all this way around. It kind of takes some time to get to, but it was the only way I could find that like respected the space of the map and sightlines. Like breaking up sightlines made this walk way longer than it needed to be. That's kind of the main fight that I'm trying to avoid, is having anything with too long of a sightline that isn't just like a dedicated sniping area. Even like this position maybe could have been its own thing, kind of like how I had in Office 2. But I really liked what I was suggesting with this and how I didn't commit to it so hard to put all this detail into it, but rather just, you know, I put in some brushwork. It feels like it stands out and it matters, and only the stuff that is of unique and interesting detail has non-dev textures. And I think in my head I was starting to imagine this map more like Santorini, which just has a lot of white all over the place with a couple of splashes of color where it matters the most. Here I've got the CT spawn, which is just in this room kind of down here. Something I'm kind of sad about is that I spent a lot of time working on a next version of this map, and I got so close to publishing it, and then I did not. I'm finding that's, I found that's an issue that I run into sometimes, is that I spend a lot of work on projects, and I think, oh, I just want to put in just a little bit more effort. And I put in so much more effort. Like I totally revamped like how CT rotation and spawn works. Like CT spawn was going to be over here. You walk up a staircase to get up over to here and to fight onto the site. I made some changes to this underpass area. Ts could now like go towards like a second site, and CTs could go towards a second site, and there was going to be a whole second site to the bomb. There was going to be a whole second site to the map in this location somewhere. And I did a lot of work with it. I put a lot of effort into testing it and stuff, but I didn't publish it to the Steam Workshop, and I don't have any confidence that I stored that somewhere. Actually, come to think of it, I think I do still have the files for it on Discord somewhere, like the working files. I might have to redo like the custom work I did, but maybe there's something to recover there. But yeah, if this goes down, this gets pushed out, and this gets flipped over. And it was at this time as I realized that Wingman was a thing. I have not played Wingman, and I think if I get back into CSGO in a more competitive capacity, it would be Wingman, because I just cannot stand working to win a game with 5 strangers, or trying to win a game with 4 strangers over the course of like 45 minutes. Can be a real slog if it's just not going well, if you're having a bad game, if your teammates are bad, if things aren't going well. Much prefer just the quicker paced games where there's still some element of tactics and all the stuff that I spent all this time learning about the game. Oh, how can I throw this silently? Oh, that maybe. Yeah, that's more what I want. The silent, sneaky grenade. So yeah, that is D Humble. I might go dig up that old archive to see if I can find the working files, because I definitely want to see what I changed to this map, and even to maybe keep working on it, because I feel like I had something here, and there's a chance I could make it work if I just kind of kept pushing it. Definitely have more motivation to just do mapping, not start a whole thing and not interrupt my current busy schedule of school and work. But, you know, just something else to feel like, you know, I'm turning all this effort and all this time that I've spent into something that is interesting to look at and is interesting to examine, and maybe even fun to play on. Who knows? So this has been my exploration of my previous maps. It's been a long journey. This is not even every single map I've ever made. This is only the ones I published to the Steam Workshop. I had definitely, I don't know, actually about 100 different layouts drawn on paper, just for fun in the corners of notebooks and such, but also tons of hours of discussion about layouts and gameplay, watching tons of videos about this stuff, just having fun coming up with CSGO layout designs like they were Sudokus, and I don't know, the fun feeling of putting together like brush geometry in a map that feels really clean and organized and creates something kind of interesting for you to experience, which, you know, I think I feel like I achieved that with creating some of these maps, that I had a fun time and I got to express myself in an interesting way that, you know, it's a craft and it takes a lot of time to get it right. So with that, that is going to be the end of things for now. Maybe I might go dig up another map of some sort, but for now this is all that I have planned as an intent for something to show people. There is no guarantee that I will make another map after this point, but the fact that I keep coming back to mapping, or even just like level design on and off as a thing that sometimes crosses my path and grabs my interest, you know, there's a non-zero chance I'll get back into it. I think as an aside, I did spend a lot of time on a next iteration of this, and I didn't publish it. I feel kind of sad about that because I really would have appreciated being able to see the latest version of what I'd done, but it just kind of never came to light. And I remember distinctly feeling like if I publish this sooner, I'll have something to show, I'll have something to reflect on, and it really doesn't matter that it's not perfect. But I really wanted to keep pushing for that sense of it being perfect anyway, and that cost me not being able to show the final version in the end, because I've definitely formatted my hard drive since, and unless I kept something in an archive of old files, you know, there's a good chance I can see the files on my Discord now, probably, in my head, but you know, there's a lot of value in just kind of putting stuff out as a capturing the work you did in the time, and doing it as often as you can just so that you have a record to go back to. I think that is kind of what this taught me, and is where a lot of my beliefs about how creation should be done came from, is the frustration of working hard on these projects, but not really having any place for them to end up. You just kind of hope that they finish themselves up in some way, or that you hit publish, or that people notice it. But I've always made a lot of things for myself, and in this sense I kind of wish I had published it in a way where it was easy for me to go back and find it.